Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel B.Ed. This is MEA, Chairman ELT, Director BLC, Founder BLSB, and Head of Linguistics B.Ed. with ELT TESOL and TEFL series lecture video 16. As a part of ELT, TESOL, TEFL, B.Ed and M.Ed programs, this lecture is on language diagnostic testing. This is an important topic of language testing and evaluation course. Now, let's get started. Introduction to diagnostic test. A diagnostic test, also known as accuracy review and remedial teaching, is a test that helps the teacher and learners identify strengths, weaknesses, and problems that they have with the language. It is constructed and administered aiming at sorting out the existing gaps between learning and objectives and filling up those gaps through remedial teaching, rectifying and improvement by personal or extra teaching, care and instructions of the weaker or problematic learners in a language teaching learning program. In some respect, diagnostic test is similar to teacher-made achievement test. Why is a language diagnostic test? All the students of a language program may not have same or equal knowledge and experience on all of the language skills. Some of them may be good at speaking or listening, but may be weak at writing or reading, and the other students are vice versa. Due to that, all the language course teachers at the start of their course give the learners a diagnostic test to see what areas of language need to be included in the syllabus. In the classroom process, tests given during the course can also act as diagnostic tests as they help the teacher and learner identify what areas will be looked at next on the course. Diagnostic test procedures are helpful here since they give teachers and learners themselves an opportunity to explore individual learning experience, gain a deeper understanding of the language learning process, and consider possible ways of promoting further learning, especially regarding the education of bilingual or plurilingual children and adolescents. Language diagnostics help to support individualizations in teaching and learning. Objectives of diagnostic test in ELT. In educational settings, language diagnostics can have three different overall objectives: administrative, evaluative, and pedagogical. As regards plurilingual or multilingual learners, the objectives of diagnostic is to track their development in the language of schooling and, if possible, their home languages. Importance of diagnostic test in ELT. From the perspective of the Council of Europe's Languages for Education's diagnostic can play a central role in plurilingual education for at least two reasons. First, its procedures can help teachers and learners themselves to find out about learners' language competencies, what they have achieved so far and what needs further development. Second, it helps to establish links between educational goals and individual performance and proficiency. Characteristics of diagnostic tests. Diagnostic tests are used to identify students' strengths and weaknesses. They are intended primarily to ascertain what further teaching is necessary. At the level of broad language skills, this is reasonably straightforward. We can be fairly confident of our ability to create tests that will tell us what a student is particularly weak in and speaking as opposed to reading in language. We may be able to go further analyzing samples of a student's performance in writing and speaking in order to create profiles of the student's ability with respect to such categories as grammatical accuracy or linguistics of appropriacy. Role of diagnostic test in ELT. Language diagnostics has an essential role to play in inclusive language education across the curriculum. It is necessarily identify the individual learner's level of language proficiency and performance not only in general but in relation to the requirements of academic language at key stages in the educational process. They could be extremely useful for individualized instructions or self-instruction. Learner would be shown where gaps exist in their command of the language and could be directed to source of information, exemplification, and practice. Functions of comprehensive language diagnostics. In general, comprehensive diagnostic procedures have three functions. Number one, descriptive. They describe the proficiency that has been achieved, which enables it to be classified. Number two, explanatory. They explain why the learner performed as he or she did, which means accounting for acquired as well as non-acquired competencies. Number three, prognostic. They predict further development. Classroom benefits of diagnostic test. Language diagnostics in the classroom brings into focus qualitative aspects of language acquisition and learning as well as developmental process and changes. Procedure should therefore focus on not only on competences and skills that have already been mastered but also on those that learners are in the process of mastering. It is embedded in a view of teaching and learning of which it is an essential part. It involves sharing learning goals with pupils. It aims to help pupils to know and to recognize the standards they are aiming for. It involves pupils in itself and their self-assessment. It provides feedback which leads to pupils recognizing their next steps and how to take them. It is underpinned by confidence that every student can improve. It involves both teacher and pupils reviewing and reflecting on assessment data. Weaknesses and limitations of diagnostic test. The lack of good diagnostic test is unfortunate in language teaching. A single example of each would not be enough, since a student might give the correct responses by chance. As a result, a comprehensive diagnostic test of English grammar would be vast. The size of such a test would make it impractical to administer in a routine fashion. For this reason, very few tests are constructed for purely diagnostic purposes, and those that there are don't provide very detailed information. Thank you for hearing me.